Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in today to this next episode of The Partnership. My name is Franz. I am the head of partnerships at Hopin and StreamYard, and I'm super excited to welcome our guest for today, which is Rob Balasabas, the head of partnerships and community at Uscreen. Rob is not just a partnerships professional, but also a content creator and has been in that space for a long time. He's been before Uscreen at TubBuddy and also at Thinkific, and has his own YouTube channel with over 10,000 subscribers, which I'm also super excited about to talk about today. Great to have you, Rob.
Franz, yeah. No, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to talk about partnerships. I don't usually get to talk about it, on streams and everything. Usually we're talking about the creator economy. But yeah, this is great. I'm really looking forward to the conversation.
Yeah, same. And I see we already have some members in the audience. We have Rob from London. Great to see you. And also great to hear that it's sunny in London. And we have Benedict as well. So London is turning out strong today. And this is an interactive show. So I'm going to ask some questions, obviously. But as you have questions as well for Rob, feel free to drop them in the chat and we'll answer them throughout as well. Marco, great to see you as well. Marco is one of the best live streamers I know. So
Marco,
excited
yes.
to have you here.
See you guys.
Awesome. So to kick things off, Rob, I would love to hear a little bit more about Uscreen. Can you tell the audience what Uscreen does and how that relates to partnerships?
Yeah, absolutely. So Uscreen.tv, we're a video membership platform. And so we work with over 25,000 creators with their basically hosting their video membership, their private membership. And so essentially what creators can do is build sort of their own version of Netflix, a paywalled platform, not only on the web, but also on mobile and TV apps, and fully white labeled. You can live stream, have on-demand content, build your community in there, and really build a predictable revenue stream from your content that you're building and the audience that you're building on YouTube and all the social platforms.
Awesome. Yeah, I took a look at the product like a while ago and it was so fascinating because it's kind of like creating your own Disney Plus or Netflix,
Right.
but as a creator, right? You have your own streaming portal where you can like monetize your content and have it behind a paywall and help build your community for that.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So my first question would be then, how do you define partnerships at Uscreen?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think in different companies and different organizations, partnerships is kind of defined in different ways. And there's really different shapes and sizes of partnerships. And so for us, there's sort of three buckets of partners that we work with. I would say the first bucket that I work very directly with is our influencer partners. And so this is by way of sponsorships on YouTube and Instagram, their podcasts, their newsletters. And these are really primarily brand awareness type of motions with these partners. We try to align with influencers and creators that share the same ICP audience as us, and then work with them on integrations, ad reads, fronts, or dedicated videos, reviews, comparison videos, that sort of thing. The second bucket would be, I would say, is brand partners. So these are partners like StreamYard and Hopin, ConvertKit, Epidemic Sound. These are complementary tools and services that our customers are using. And so typically we'll work with them, either cross-promoting or co-marketing motions with them. And so that's brand partners. That's the second bucket. And then for us, there's a third bucket that is also forming, which is expert partners. And these are more technology type partners. So, folks that are providing tech services or tech assistance, marketing, strategy services to help our customers with their membership businesses. So, those three, they tend to overlap. Some partners will overlap. Some partners will be tech partners as well as influencers and vice versa, because some influencers will have services. But overall, those are the three types of buckets that we have for partnerships.
Nice. And how are they distributed like for your team? Like where does your team spend the most amount of time
That's
between these three buckets?
Yeah, I would say different team members. So the partnership team itself, we spend the majority of our time working with influencers and working on sponsorships and agreements and scripts and approving videos and drafts and things like that. And then I would say there's also There's also different team members. I would say our success team, our sales team, our support team will probably be more in touch with our expert partners, because they are in the front lines working with our customers and, connecting them with different experts that we work with. And so depending on the team, they'll have different interactions with our partners.
Nice. And in terms of like the partnerships that your teams look after, like who are
Yeah.
the ideal partners that you are trying to tackle? Like you mentioned, influencer partners are like the number one bucket, kind of that your team looks
Yeah.
after, or you spend
Yeah.
most of the time on them. Like,
Yeah.
what does your ideal partner profile look like for those partners,
Yeah.
and how do you find them?
How do you find them? Yeah, that's a really good question. I would say our ideal partners, because of the nature of our business, right? We start with who are we going after? And so, our target audience, our ICP, are other creators, right? Creators that are looking to build and monetize their content and become professional creators and build a business around their content, around their audience. And so our ideal partners are creators that have other creators in their audience, which sounds funny, but not all creators out there, not all YouTube channels have other creators in their audience. Some of them will just have people that are looking to be entertained on YouTube or, scrolling on TikTok and Instagram, and they're sort of the end user, right? They're not really other creators. But there are other creators out there that specifically help other creators. They're helping them how to, craft videos, how to build live shows, right? How to start a podcast, how to monetize their content, how to build multiple revenue streams, right? How to build courses and memberships specifically. And so those are the creators that we want to work with and partner with. Um, we don't really have an audience size requirement as well. That's sort of another thing that some brands will look for, like, oh, we need, creators that or influencers that have at least 100,000 subs, or getting this much views. We've found that man, micro influencers are great. They have a very loyal following, and they're able to really spend time with that audience, and they have a lot of influence, decision making influence, with those smaller audiences. So yeah, typically that's who we are really going after as far as partners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Benedict had a great question.
Yeah.
Are these influencers like individuals or companies, or does it
Mm.
even matter to your team whether these
Yeah,
partners are individuals?
that's a good question. Benedict, thanks for the question. Yeah, most of the influencers are individuals. Yeah, so they are individual creators. They have they excuse me, they built their business on their personal brand. Sometimes they will have a manager in house, or they may work with an agency, a talent agency. But yeah, typically they are individuals. Yeah.
Got it. And it's interesting because you don't have a size requirement, right? So you don't have like,
Oh.
a minimum of 100,000 followers or something like that, which would exclude most of the creators. How do you scale a program like that? Or how do you acquire partners at scale? Because I can imagine, like, especially with smaller influencers, like, they might lead to a lot of new customers, but you would need a lot of these influencers in order to make up whatever, Think Media or something like that with 2
Right.
million subscribers
Right.
could provide you, right? So how
Yeah,
do you scale
exactly.
it? How do you manage so many relationships?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So that being said, we do work with some larger creators. Creators in the millions of subs. I would say probably the smallest creator that we work with has about 30,000 subs. Yeah, and in terms of this approach for us, this may not work for other brands, right? So one step back is that Uscreen is sort of we're going after a very specific type of creator, creators that are later stage, that have a built-in audience already and more advanced than a beginner creator, right? And also our price point, we understand our sales cycle is a little longer. And so we don't need millions of leads, every single month. We really need to be more targeted and specific. Now, other products, other brands out there, other solutions and software, maybe more for the masses, right? Amazon, for example, they have different influencers, and their margins are so small, but they're selling on quantity. Whereas we are really going for very specific creators, and so that's why our approach has been very much more targeted, very specific, and not the mass sort of quantity. We're very selective with who we are working with, because we
Yeah.
understand that. Yeah. So in terms of finding the creators and influencers, Franz, manual. When we started this, influencer marketing and sponsorships, very manual. We started on YouTube. Um, and for the folks out there that are watching, looking to start influencer marketing, really start where you find. If you have data on where your best customers are coming from, I would start there. If your best customers are coming from TikTok, start on TikTok. If they're on YouTube, start on YouTube. If they're on LinkedIn, start on LinkedIn, and identify the influencers that are helping the people there make decisions. So on YouTube, just act like your target audience, right? Act like your target audience and search for keywords that you feel your audience is looking for, and searching that you want to show up in. It's really simple. Like you want to infiltrate the traffic that's already happening there. And so doing that, looking for the creators that are showing up, for example, for StreamYard, who's teaching how to live stream. If I was starting to thinking about, live streaming, who's talking about how to start a live show, who's talking about live stream gear, who's talking about live stream platforms, maybe some of your competitors already, and already has that audience, right? I would create a hit list or a wish list of creators to approach. When we started France, we started with about a list of 20 to 30 creators that we wanted to work with and sponsor. And depending on your vertical, that might be really easy or that might be really hard, depending on how many influencers and how specific your niche is. And we looked at their videos, right? The last 20 or so videos, and really tried to understand if this would be a fit, right? Does their brand align with ours? What's their average view count? All of those metrics, right? Their descriptions in those videos. Do they have sponsors in those videos? Um, do they work with sponsors, right? We wanted to understand and know that. Are they promoting sponsors in their videos? And maybe watch a couple of their videos as well to see if they are integrating and how they're integrating their sponsors in their ad reads, right? So it's really understanding what they're doing there. We went beyond YouTube as well, Franz. Going from their YouTube channel, looking at their About tab on YouTube. Do they have an Instagram account? Do they have that profile? And are they active on Instagram? Are they active on Twitter, on TikTok, and all those other platforms? Are they posting reels? And try to identify if there's other options and other opportunities to get in front of their audience as well, not just on YouTube or the primary platform, but secondary platforms that we can work with. And so, looking at that, that's sort of where we started, and you can really study them. The other hack that we found, Franz, was looking at the channels tab. So the channels tab on every YouTube channel, sometimes the creators will actually add other creators in their space there, sort of a directory of like, hey, here's my friends, in the similar space. And that gives you another list to go after and study and research, and potentially reach out to. And so, yeah, so those are some of the things that we started when we, or did when we started,
Yeah.
the program.
That's such a great tip. It's the same in technology partnerships. Like when we build out our app store at Hopin, like
Mhm.
we ultimately often like went to our partners and figure out who do our partners partner with, because our partner's partner is probably somebody who has a similar
That's right.
ICP as us. So
Right.
similarly with that influencer marketing or with like partnerships with creators as well. Like a creator probably is collaborating with another creator who does very similar content to them, which means that they might also be a good fit for your program.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You
Exactly.
mentioned
Exactly.
you mentioned like your start at Uscreen, and I just wanted to like circle back to that a little
Sure.
bit. Like, what
Sure.
was it like when you started? Like, was there already like an established like influencer program at Uscreen,
Mm,
or did you have to build that up from scratch?
that's a good question. Yeah. When I started Uscreen, it was about a year and a half ago. There wasn't sponsorship. Sponsorships wasn't happening quite yet. We started sponsorships, I would say, about 9 months ago, in early Q3 2022. But when I joined, we had an affiliate program. Affiliate program was running strong. Really helped build the business in the early days. And a lot of the folks in the affiliate program were agencies, actually. Some influencers, but mostly agencies that were already working with our customers. And they were helping build their websites or do marketing for them. And so they were helping them with their Uscreen business as well. And so they were the affiliates. Recently, we've actually sunsetted the affiliate program, we really learned that, okay, this is a really good program in the early days of Uscreen, but we had sunsetted it because we learned that, most influencers that we wanted to work with weren't too excited with affiliate programs, sort of the higher tier of influencers. And so they were really more excited about sponsorships and partnerships in terms of brand deals. And so we sunsetted the affiliate program, but we are also spinning up a new program to work directly with agencies, marketing agencies, and web design agencies, and so on. And then we are refocusing and sort of rechanneling our efforts into sponsorship partnerships. So yeah, that's sort of been the evolution in the last, I don't know, I guess year and a half with our program.
Yeah, that's super interesting. I would love to like understand a little bit more just around affiliate marketing on
Yeah,
your side, and why you closed in that program. Because generally, when somebody starts a new role in partnerships, it's often like one of the low hanging fruits, especially on marketing.
right.
It's like, you want to perpetuate the word of mouth, so why not make them affiliates, right? But I think like what a lot of companies see is that either, only a few customers are actually able to drive a large amount of affiliates where it's worth the hassle of actually paying them out, or you also have the problem, I guess, sometimes that the fee is too small, right? So there might be
Mhm.
actually like an added service the agency can provide where they build out their website or something like that for 50 grand. So they
Right.
don't actually pay about the 500 bucks they pay out on the affiliate program. Is
Right.
that similar to what you found, or is there a different reason why you
Yeah.
close it down?
Yeah, we just found that it was no longer the best way for both sides of Uscreen and also our affiliate partners to work together. There were these really amazing affiliate partners that were agencies, and so again, although we are sunsetting the affiliate program officially, those agencies, we are building a new program for them that they can still, have a financial reward and commissions and everything, actually a better commission structure likely, with a new channel partnership program that we are building. And so we are definitely identified based on the data and everything that has been happening with the affiliate program, like who is really engaged with that program, and then how can we double down on those people that are very engaged, and earning and also helping our creators. And so we want to make sure that we create a program that for the agencies that is working for them. And so for other brands out there, yes, affiliate programs is definitely a great platform, and it's a great channel. I know StreamYard has a great affiliate program. I'm in the StreamYard affiliate program with my personal channel. And so for different brands, affiliate programs, whether it is a time-bound commission or a lifetime commission, which we had, for example, at TubeBuddy in my previous role, could work really well, right? Can work really, really well. And so every brand has different pricing plans and different pricing models, and also different types of affiliate partners. And so the right fit will usually be different. And so yeah, so for us, we just had to sunset it and then sort of shift so that we can double down on those agencies.
Right. You mentioned agencies like a lot. Like, what
Yeah.
does the ideal agency program look like, or like, what are your lessons from like the past on how you work with agencies, and what are the things you would want to do different if you could do them again? I guess you are
Yeah.
doing them again right now.
Yeah. So agencies. I mean, there's so many. So there's a couple different types of agencies when I say that, and I guess it is a little confusing, but there's marketing agencies. So for folks out there. So with Uscreen, the creators are building their website, their membership website, marketing that website, that membership, those apps, and marketing that, and building a recurring revenue stream. And so the agencies are working with them to build out their sites on Uscreen and also to market those websites. And so we wanted to make sure that they're incentivized to help that creator grow their membership. And that membership is really, in terms of revenue, is a recurring revenue, similar to SaaS, right? They're building a
Mm.
membership. And so we want to make sure that they're incentivized to help that creator, that customer of ours, to grow their business. And so we were making sure that commission model works for them in that sense. And then the other type of agencies is talent agencies. That's my world. That's sponsorships. Talent agencies. Influencer agencies that manage creators and influencers, and typically will help them get brand deals. And so that's the other that's the other avenue to your earlier question there, Franz, of like how do you find creators, or sorry, how do you find influencers to sponsor? Agencies has been a really good, even in the early days, agencies has been a really good way for us to build relationships with creators and influencers that we wouldn't have likely been able to work with if we were reaching out directly. These are larger influencers, more established influencers, and so having a lot of people will shy away from working with agencies because typically there is going to be a bit of a premium to work with those creators. There's another party
Yeah.
involved that needs to get paid. But like I said, it's a really good way to start building these relationships with creators early on. And most agencies, I've found anyway, typically work with a certain type of creator, especially boutique agencies, smaller agencies, right? They'll work with, oh, we work with lifestyle creators, or we work with travel vloggers, or we work with tech YouTubers, and that's sort of their line of business. And so once you identify that, build a relationship with them, ask them for their roster, which is basically their list of managed creators, and
Mhm.
that roster will have links to their channels and details on their stats and audiences and sometimes their rates as well. And you can you can 3x, 5x, 10x your early day efforts in terms of getting more published sponsored content out there early on, versus doing them one at a time, with creators. So yeah, there are definitely
Yeah.
pros and cons with agencies there.
Yeah, it seems like they're a great channel. Like you pay a premium, but you also pay for a wider reach and
Yeah,
access, right? Instead of going
yeah,
through YouTube painstakingly and trying to
yeah.
get to a creator through your connections or something like that, you just have direct access, but you do pay for that
You do pay for
access.
that. Yeah, yeah, you do pay for that. You
So
do
one
pay
of
for
our
that. Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry, Francis. You do pay for that, but they do also take some of the work off your plate. In terms of making sure that integration is published on time. All of
Mm,
those things. The communication. There's usually somebody that's holding the influencer accountable. And
yeah.
it's a bit more. Sometimes can be a bit more of an organized, integration because there's somebody managing things on the influencer side, and it's just not just the influencer you're dealing with directly. Yeah, so there's definitely pros and cons. And when I say integrations, I know we had the integrations means just a sponsorship. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Terminology and partnerships is still all over the
Very,
place.
very tricky. Yeah, yeah. You need a glossary.
Yeah. So one of our audience members actually picked up on your job title, and I think that's a
Yeah.
question I had here as well. But it's great that that was posted. So, what led you to running both partnerships and community at Rooms Uscreen? Like, how do you see partners different from community, or where do the two disciplines overlap?
Yeah, good question. That's a really good question. Who's that from? Yeah, it's a really good question. Thanks for that. Yeah, so Uscreen, again, every company is different in how they structure their org. But Uscreen partnerships falls under the marketing umbrella. The I would say probably the main reason, there's a couple different reasons, but probably the primary reason is that, we are very much creator first, Franz. And
Hmm.
so, our partners are typically creators. And so we work closely with our content team, performance team, growth team, right? And so we fall under the marketing umbrella. And so, like I said, we're really building this for creators, and our partners are creators. And so they're very involved in our marketing. I know in some other orgs, partnership can fall right under directly to, under its own umbrella outside of marketing, but for us, we've chosen to keep it that way. In terms of community, really community for us, I mean, this is, you know, community is such a buzzword. And when you talk to creators, community is such a big, it's a big opportunity, and it's also a big focus for them, building a community that is loyal to you. And so for us, our partners are very involved in their community. We launched a community for our users last year, and our partners were invited to that community. They're very involved in that community, and they'll continue to be involved in that community. And so, right now, the community team, our community manager, is under, sort of, I work with her directly,
Hmm.
and we're always talking about, okay, hey, we're working with this influencer. Cool. Like, what are some opportunities that we can do to get them in front of our community, so they can learn from them? We can't teach everything. We don't know everything at Uscreen. We have our lane, and so we want to make sure that we have other experts coming in to really help our community build their business. And so that's why the two are very close together.
Got it. It's super fascinating because in a way it means that also like partners are often like actually like some of your star community members because in your case, for example, they're like very large creators who actually have a lot of knowledge they can share with your community of other creators, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
what are your thoughts on like maintaining like a partner community versus a customer community or intermixing the both, right? Because like in a partner community, like oftentimes people actually earn money from your product versus in a customer
Mm.
community, they might be the end users, right, of your product. So
Mm.
how do you like balance the two? How do you balance like, do you want to have a smaller partner community where only your agencies or influencer partners are in and they have like a very like high caliber, all of them, so to speak, versus like a customer community where every customer is in there and partners intermingle with customers and might also, sometimes sell to them, right? Like an agency might sell to your customer as well, like their marketing services, for example.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah, the right now our primary focus in terms of community is our user community, and like you said, our influencer partners have a. This is why we sponsor and we work with them, is that they have a knowledge that our ICP are listening to. If you really think about it, most of our users, most of our customers probably met our influencer partners before they even met Uscreen. And so,
Mm.
it's really important for us to continue that relationship and continue that conversation and bring in the partners once that lead or that person that saw them on YouTube now starting to use Uscreen, they join our community and they see that same influencer still involved, right? It's a very like close loop. And it just makes so much more sense, aside from the fact that yes, like those influencer partners have a vast knowledge that they can share with our community, our users, that can help them build their business, right? And so that's really what we're all about, is to help those creators build successful, sustainable businesses with their content. And so to bring in those partners is really good. Now, we talk a lot about sponsorships, and really that's sort of just the beginning and like very top of funnel in terms of how we look at how we work with partners, right? We want to bring partners in, not just like, hey, let's do sponsorships, let's do ad reads and paid sponsorships on YouTube. Let's bring you into our community. Let's do deeper partnerships and integrations together, rather than just like, yes, we can do sponsorships on YouTube. Let's bring you in. Let's do a training where you train our customers, on a specific thing, on email marketing or live streaming or, growing your YouTube channel. All of these like things that our creators want to learn that our partners can teach in a much better way than we could, as a team. So yeah, so everything is very blurry in terms of customers and community and partnerships, and that's sort of by design.
Yeah. Awesome. So one of the biggest topics right now in partnerships is the buzzword ecosystems, right? And
Right.
ecosystems is kind of like a fancy way of saying community because it's just getting your partners to talk to each other and making sure that your
Yeah.
partners are interconnected. So there's not just a, bi-directional relationship between you and the
Right.
partner, but they're actually related to each other. What advice would you give a partnerships leader who is trying to turn their first program of maybe like 20, 30 agencies into a community?
That's a good question. Yeah, depending on your product, the nature of your business, and also the nature of your partners, um, you can build, you can create a Discord or a Slack, private, community for your partners, if only if that is you have something that you can add to them in that fashion. By what I mean by that is, yes, if you can sort of facilitate some cross collaborations or co-marketing or other opportunities with those partners. If there's no real sort of actionable thing that you can offer them through that community, that it's just a sort of a way to sort of put them all together and makes it easier for you to communicate with them, I would probably advise against it. For us, we don't have a partnership community. We don't have a private Discord or anything like that for our partners because we tend to, we do emails and chat messages sort of one-on-one on Facebook Messenger, LinkedIn DMs and stuff with our different influencer partners. And that seems to work for us quite well. We feel that we have a strong relationship with that are building with those partners. And so we're keeping it that way. We're not trying to add some more, sort of more work for them, more effort for them to communicate with us. What we are doing, Franz, though, is when we go to conferences, when we go to events, most of the time our partners are there. They're speaking at the conference or they're attending or they live in the city. We will put together some type of dinner or some type of get together with our partners and build relationships that way. And so we feel that tends to do really well, and we're able to sort of get to know our partners, and they're able to get to know each other, and much better. It's just more enjoyable as well.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. It's something which I think a lot of people learned after the pandemic, that in-person meetings
Yeah.
and relationships
Yeah.
really help strengthen, that partnership as compared to just meeting in a Slack or something like that.
Totally.
We are unfortunately at time, but before we go, I want to ask you a question which I ask everybody who comes on the show. What partnership leader or two partnership leaders would you recommend the audience to follow apart from yourself?
Man, there's a whole list in my mind. Happy to share them probably, but if I was to share a couple, I would probably say, man, Jessie Grossman. She runs women in influencer marketing. She's amazing. She's really smart and bright. I would also say Rob Gable. He's at Spotter. Work with him at TubeBuddy as well. Just a really brilliant guy. And if I was to say third person, if that's okay, I would say Monica Khan as well from Spotter. And just really awesome people there. But yeah, there's quite a few. I'll share my list with you, Franz, and maybe
Definitely
tag them. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. We'll post it on LinkedIn, and a lot of big love for the Spotter team, it seems.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining today, Rob. I put your links here in the comments in the banner section. So we have Rob Balasabas if you want to follow Rob on LinkedIn, and Rob's YouTube handle as well, Robert Balasabas. Thanks so much for joining today. Really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you, Franz.